out there. We are eternally grateful for your service. Thank you for everything.
Mina, thank you for sharing, and thanks to your dad as well. We're asking you to join the USAA in the Honor Through Action Challenge. Just like I did, draw a V and a veteran's initials on your hand. Snap a picture, post it on social with hashtag Honor Through Action. NFL Live wants to say thank you to all the men and women who have served this country, and for me, thank you to Desmond Calhoun Jones, Alexander Stewart McKeeman, and Charles Samuel Rutledge. Let's get to the Cowboys, who, of course, without Dak Prescott and hold a 2-7 record. So that ugly record has them in prime position when it comes to the 2021 NFL Draft. This is a positive for the Cowboys. Our Football Power Index projects the Cowboys to secure the 3rd overall pick, just behind the Jets and Jaguars. Here's what owner and GM Jerry Jones said earlier today about the Cowboys' current state of affairs.
Right now, it looks like we're in line for the 3rd pick. Now, it could move up, could move down, but if it stays at 3, is it crazy to bring up the idea of taking a quarterback with the 3rd pick or the 2nd pick if you may have it?
Yes. You asked me if it's crazy to bring the idea up, and I'm answering you, yes. Dak is our quarterback.
All right, listen, but it is a business, guys. So, Marcus, if the Cowboys are in a spot to draft Dak's replacement, should they?
Yeah, I mean, look, Jerry and Steven are living in a PC culture, right? They want to be politically correct. We saw how Dak exited the field with an ankle fracture, and everything is about saying the right things. But he does have an ankle fracture, and you don't know if he's going to return to being the form. It's a business of football. Here's the caveat. If it's Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, you do it. If not, you move on. You draft Penei Sewell from Oregon, and you get ready to reinvigorate your offensive line, who you've lost to some injury, and create some depth there. So, yeah, that is going to happen. If Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields is on the board when Dallas picks, they will take one of those 2 quarterbacks.
So, Dan, what should the plan be the rest of the way in Dallas?
I mean, the plan should be to pray that you get one of those 2 picks. I mean, the players are going to try to win games, but if you're the Jones family, you're like, I want that 1st or 2nd pick. All right, so this is why. We've all sat here for weeks now, and Mina's kind of brought it to everyone's attention how poor this roster is. She's pointed out that Jerry put this roster together, and it is a really bad roster. Guess what? If Dak Prescott comes back next year, it's not getting fixed. It's not a one-man fix. 2, Shefty's mentioned multiple times how difficult it's going to be to get the franchise tag under the salary cap and have even the roster that's somewhat close to this football team. You're probably going to have a lesser roster next year if you have to have Dak Prescott under the franchise tag. So if you get that 1st and 2nd pick, or 1st or 2nd pick, you're ecstatic if you're Dallas, because 1, it gives you leverage against that contract negotiation that we know Jerry wants to win against Dak Prescott. 2, it gives you the opportunity to reset the clock. Like, if you want to move on from Dak Prescott and the finances of it, you can reset the clock and take a young quarterback. 3, let's say, you know what, Jerry Jones and the Jones family goes, actually, their words are actually action, and they do re-sign Dak Prescott. Now you got a trade chip that somebody is going to come up and go get that quarterback that they want, and that roster rebuild that's needed, because it's not a very good football team, you can get that done much quicker. So their hope should be to get, at worst, the 2nd pick of the draft next year.
And despite the fact that they have struggled to get a contract extension done, Dan, it's gone on for a couple of years now. I think the fact of the matter is Dallas does want Dak with that franchise moving forward. And Dak wants to be in Dallas long-term moving forward. And I still think that they'll find a way to figure out a solution to that contract. Now, if they can do that, and if Dallas gets one of those top picks, a 1st, 2nd overall pick, a 3rd overall pick even, where you're looking at Trey Lance maybe that pick does have the value that you can auction off. And look, we're talking about how depleted that roster is. The quickest way to rebuild it, especially when you're paying a quarterback like they'd like to do with Dak, is to acquire cheap rookie contracts. Cheap rookie contracts of talented players. So you auction off that pick, get more picks, and begin to replenish a roster that right now looks like it needs to be replenished.
I think there is a very big difference between the 2nd and 3rd pick this season because of next season because of Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. And the truth about tanking or gunning for one of those picks is players and coaches don't take. GMs and organizations tank. And that ship has sailed, right? Like the Cowboys could have traded away some of their star players, try to, focus on next year, but they didn't. Now, Dan, you're correct that the roster is not great. I certainly have criticized them. But this is an offense that was putting up major points before Dak Prescott went out. So even if they have a third pick, they trade down, maybe accumulate more picks, the offense isn't in terrible shape. It's the defense that needs to be rebuilt. And I think that even if they were to re-sign Dak, and you're right, if they tagged him, it would be difficult. They'd probably want to sign him to a long-term deal that they could then restructure. They can use those picks and some of that ammunition to focus on fixing the defense because this is a playoff caliber offense with Dak Prescott.
Here's my thing. Has the offensive line window closed? I understand that, it's the defensive issue, but has the offensive line window closed?
Right.
Getting the 5th pick this year does nothing for Dallas. If you really want to do something for Dak Prescott, keeping it real, if you really want to sign Dak Prescott and build as good of a future with him as you can, you should try to get the 2nd pick. And I agree with you, the players and coaches, they're not going to buy into that. But the best thing for the Cowboys organization is to get the 2nd pick. And whatever means necessary to get there is the thing that they need to do as an organization separate of the players.
Yeah, when it comes to that number 1 pick, though, it's important to keep in mind that the Jets doing everything they can to win the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. According to FBI, they have a 63% chance of securing the number 1 pick. All right, kick off your Week 10 NFL Sunday at 10 a.m.